What's up, you guys? So in this video, we're going to be talking about why it is so important to be patient. I was sitting here in traffic and I was thinking about how impatient people can be in life, right? I was thinking about how God will put you in situations where you are called to be patient and where you are literally in a position where things seem stagnant or things seem like they're not going anywhere. It's because God is telling you to be patient and he's trying to teach you a lesson. And as I'm sitting here, or I just got out of it, as you guys can see, I'm moving, but I was sitting there in traffic and I was thinking like someone else with road rage or someone that's had a long day is sitting here and they're thinking like, man, today can't get any worse, or like, you know, of course this would happen. Of course, now we're stuck in traffic and now I got to sit here and I got to wait. But like, when you think about how life is the same exact way. Things just happen unexpectedly, and trying to understand where life will take you. That for the person that's watching this, that is so important to understand that sometimes God will put you in a position where you are forced to be patient and forced to trust and to have faith in him, and understanding what that really looks like. Because, you know, for me, I've had a season where things were stagnant. I've also had a season where like things were, you know, moving very smooth and very like efficiently, and then they would go back to being stagnant. And it's like, how do I keep getting in this circle of, you know, inconsistency? It's what it feels like, right? You feel like you're moving and then you're stuck, and then you're moving and then you're stuck. And it's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what is wrong with me, if you will. And then you kind of just sit there and you're thinking like, what is happening? You know, like, what can I do to get out of this situation? I'm doing everything I can to get out of the situation, and it's still not enough. And, you know, I was sitting here, I was watching a sermon, and I remember he said, sometimes God will bring you to the top of the mountain and he'll let you, like, you know, have your high moments and let you rejoice them. And, you know, when you're at the top, you're like, thank God, thank you for finally getting me here. Thank you for this and this. Thank you for this and that. And then sometimes he'll bring you through the valleys. And, you know, when you get to the low points, you're like, God, why are you putting me through this? I can't believe that you would bring me from the top of the mountain back to where I started, or, you know, give me this type of big fall to where I'm back at this bottom and back in this valley. And what the sermon was saying is that instead of asking God, why are you putting me in this valley? Ask God to bring you through the valley. God, walk with me through this valley, for I don't know what I'm about to get into, but I pray that I learned everything you need me to through this, you know, through this time. And that was so crucial for me, because I heard that when I needed to hear that. And I think that was God trying to tell me, trust me through this process, because eventually we're going to go back up. And I need you to be patient, and I need you to move with the same intensity and the same strength and the same confidence that you were moving when you were at the top, only that I got some things to teach you. And I think that a lot of people need to hear that, because when you sit there and you think about life, you're thinking like, my life should always be at the mountaintop, always. Like, there's no reason I should be at the bottom with the things that I'm doing, with the hard work that I'm putting in, for the good deeds that I'm doing for people, and the things that's like going on in my life. I feel like I've been called for greater, and I think you have been as well. But God is also putting you in this season where you're being tested for how patient you can be in your faith along this time. So when I think about, you know, what does life look like when you're being patient, or when you're sitting in traffic, right? Think about, God, what do you want me to learn while I'm in this moment? I have nothing to do but to focus on what I need to focus on, right? When I'm in this space, okay, what do I need to focus on? Okay, there's, you know, if you're in traffic, it's like, okay, well, there's cars in front of me. Let me make sure I don't hit that. Let me make sure that I'm being attentive if I'm about to get rear-ended, or, you know, someone is trying to switch lanes, whatever that looks like, when the light switches, things like that. And it's like, God, help me pay attention to the details that you need me to understand in this time frame, because right now I could just be sitting here and I'm mad at the world for me sitting in traffic, but I'm missing all the details. And to make it worse, let's say that I'm not paying attention and someone gets into my lane and I'm driving. I'm looking at my phone, or I'm just looking at the, you know, my rear end mirror, and then I hit a car. Now it's, oh my gosh, now I gotta get out the car and take pictures and see if there's any car damage. And it's like so many different things that you gotta pay attention to, that if you don't pay attention to the detail, it could be a lot worse. And understanding what that really looks like. So, you know, this video is for the people that are or that can find themselves impatient. And I think that God has put this video on your timeline for you to understand that being patient and trusting Him is the best option in this time of your life right now. I also want you guys to think about it, like in the sense of patience, like what are you patient for, right? Like if a game is dropping or if a book is, okay, no one probably, I mean, there's probably some people that read books, but you know, if there's like this big movie dropping and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for it to come out. You're like becoming like, you know, you don't have any choice but to be patient until that release date is coming, right? But that's because you know the release date is coming. If you don't know that the release date is coming, you become impatient. So for me, I'm like a major Spider-Man fan, right? Let's say that they drop a movie and they're like, okay, we're gonna drop it in 2 years, but I never know what the release date is. I'm gonna become impatient when it hits 2 years, because I'm like, okay, is it gonna be in the beginning of the year? Is it the middle of the year? Okay, it's like wrapping up to the end, like when are we gonna drop the movie? And I would become super impatient, but that's because I don't know what to expect, when to expect it. And I think that's so funny that that's how God works when He's talking to us and when He's trying to reveal things to us. He's like, look, I got this big movie date and it has a release date. You don't know when it's gonna come and you don't even know that it's in 2 years. But just know that this date is coming, and eventually you will be so proud that you went through everything that you went through and learned what you learned. Because like, there's so much to learn in the tough times. And if you think about the person that you are, it's because the tough times made you through that. And the tough times have really brought you through that to understand exactly who you've become and who you want to be. Because, not gonna lie, hard times prove to yourself, wait, how do I say this? Hard times make who you want to be, because you realize who you don't want to be. So if you're broke, you realize you don't want to be broke, because then you have all these other financial problems. And if you don't have a home, then you realize how much you want a house. If you don't have a car, then you realize how much you gotta walk everywhere. Or you gotta ask for an Uber, or you gotta ask a friend and give them money. And like stuff like that, the things that bring you through the valley, I should say, and then put you in a position where you can start winning and you start being appreciative, it helps you understand where you don't want to be in life. So understand that being in a rough place or being in the patient valley isn't always a bad thing. There's so much things to learn in it that you start to understand yourself and you start to learn who you are. And I think that that's like one of the most crucial things. And then outside of that, you start learning who God wants you to be. Who does God really call, like, who has God really called me to be, right? Like, okay, I have these things I want to achieve. I have these things that I want to accomplish. But at the same time, God has also called me to be in a higher position. So what does He need to reveal to me, or where do I need to be more attentive at so that I understand where God is calling me? And that in itself, it can be a journey, you know, because only God knows what God knows. We only know what we know. And for that reason, we won't be able to understand what life is always going to be. We don't know what tomorrow could happen. What could happen tomorrow? My bad. And understanding what that looks like. You know, you wake up tomorrow and you're like, you know, today I want to do this and this, but tomorrow I'm gonna do this and that. But like, what if you don't get to see tomorrow? Or what if tomorrow has other plans and now you couldn't even do the things that you wanted to do? It's because we're not in control of that all the time. And so as long as we're being patient, we're being faithful to what God has to say for us and what God has planned for us, I think that it's okay to be patient. Because I think that with what God has for us and where God is going to place us in our lives that we don't even expect, I think it's okay to be patient, because there's going to be seasons where you just have to be patient. You just have to wait for yourself and for God to move in you, for you to do what you need to do. And to be honest, I'm in one of them seasons right now where I'm trying to figure out, okay, God, where do you want me at, right? Where do you want me to be at in the next couple months? Where do you want me to be at in the next year? You know, I have things that I want to do and things that I want to accomplish, but if that's not on your agenda, then what is on your agenda? And help me understand what I need to know and where I need to be at so I can be according to your plan. So I say all those things to say that ask God to walk you through the valley, not just pray or talk yourself out of it. Understand why you're in this time, in this season of your life, that you can start moving properly to get the things that you really want. Because if you don't, who knows how much longer you can be in the valley than you even needed to be, just because you were not faithful. So that's really all I got for this video, y'all. Thank you for taking a car ride with me. And I will catch y'all in the next video.